Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about equivalent ratios. So equivalent ratios is basically a ratio that means the same as another ratio. So in class I talked about if we have a ratio of 2 to 3, and let's say this is circles to stars, okay? It means that for every 2 circles I have 3 stars. For every 2 circles I have 3 stars. So what that means is if I have 2 circles, I have 3 stars. But if I add 2 more circles, I also need to add 3 more stars, which means that I have now 4 circles and 6 stars. Again, I add 2 more circles, I have to add 3 more stars. So now I have 6 circles and 9 stars. Again, if I go from 2 to 4, I multiply by 2 because now I have 2 groups. And 3 to 6, I also multiply by 2. And if I go from 2 to 6, I multiply by 3 because I have 3 groups. Now I have 3 groups, so I multiply both my numerator and my denominator by 3. So the ratio of 2 to 3 is equal to the ratio of 4 to 6 is equal to the ratio of 6 to 9. So let's look at some examples. If I have the ratio 16 over 40, I want to put my ratio into simplest form. The reason I want to put my ratios into simplest form is because this allows me to go anywhere with any ratio. So I think about how can I get from 16 to a lowest term? What factor can go into both 16 and 40? I'm thinking off the top of my head, I know 8. So I'm going to divide both my numerator and my denominator by 8. So I get 16 divided by 8 is 2, and 40 divided by 8 is 5. I ask myself, is there a number that can go into both 2 and 5 evenly? The answer to that question is no. So I know this is my simplest form ratio. Okay, let's try another one. If I have 56 over 21, I think about, is there a number that can go into both 56 and 21? I'm thinking off the top of my head, I have 3. So, three goes into 5, and actually 3 cannot go into 56. So I think to myself, so I can do 56, I can always do a factor tree. So I see that they have a common factor of 7. So I'm going to divide both by 7. And 56 divided by 7 is 8, and 21 divided by 7 is 3. So I ask myself, is there a number that can go into both 8 and 3? The answer is no, so this is in its simplest form. Okay, I can go up from here if I wanted to by any number. So say for instance I multiply this by 3, I can get 24 by 3, 9, which means 56 over 21 is equal to 24 over 9. Okay, so I'm just showing you what we could do with our equivalent ratios. Alright, so let's look at a ratio table. If I have a ratio table that has cleaning agent to cups of water. Okay, so sometimes you have a cleaning agent and you have to mix it with water because it's too concentrated. If I have my ratio of 3 to 5, and I have 9 cleaning agents, or 9 cups of cleaning agent, okay, how many cups of water do I need to add? Well, to get from 3 to 9, I have to multiply by 3. Therefore, I have to multiply this by 3, and I need to add 15 cups of water. If I had 12 cups of cleaning agent, to get from 3 to 12, I multiply by 4. Therefore, I have to multiply this by 4. 5 times 4 is 20. So I would need to add 20 cups of water to my cleaning agent to keep the same ratio. If, say for instance, I had 35 cups of water, and I wanted to know how much cleaning agent I should add, I say, how do I get from 5 to 35? I get that by multiplying by 7. So I have to multiply 3 by 7, and 3 times 7 is 21. This ratio of 21 to 35 is equal to 3 to 5. So that is what a ratio table looks like. I want to look at a couple ratios and see if they're equivalent to each other. So if I have 11 over 17, I want to know, is it equal to 17 over 11? So I ask myself, how do I get from 11 to 17? It would not be the same number to get from 17 to 11. Clearly, I would need to multiply it by some number to get to 17 and divide by some number to get to 11. Therefore, these are not equal. But if I look at 7 over 11, and I want to know, is it equal to 21 over 33? I ask myself, how do I get from 7 to 21? I multiply by 3. Therefore, I have to multiply this by 3. And yes, these two are equal. Okay, so these ratios are equivalent. Let's continue looking at some more problems. Now, what happens if my ratio is not, what happens if I don't need to make my ratio in simplest form? What happens if I want to go from one number to the other and it doesn't quite work? So let's look at an example. If I have 63 over 27 as a ratio, and I set that equal to 49 over x, off the top of my head, I can't really think of a number that can go into 63 or that can get me 49. So I say to myself, let me reduce this into simplest form. Let's think of a number that can go into both 63 and 27. The number that can go into both 63 and 27 is 9. So I'm going to divide both my numerator and my denominator by 9. 63 divided by 9 is 7. 27 divided by 9 is 3. Now, since I'm in simplest form, I can go to any ratio. So I ask myself, how do I get from 7 to 49? And I get there by multiplying by 7. So I need to multiply 3 by 7, and x is going to equal 21. Let's look at another example. What happens if I have 81 over 18? And that's going to be equal to 36 over x. Again, I can't think of a number off the top of my head that can go from 81 to 36. So I'm going to reduce this into simplest form and then try to see if I can get to 36. So I'm going to reduce both my numerator and my denominator by 9. Kind of a coincidence that we just reduced it by 9. But anyways, this is going to be 9 over 2. So how do I get from 9 to 36? I'm multiplying by 4. Same thing here. I'm going to multiply by 4, and x is equal to 8. I'm going to do a couple problems, 29 through 32 on the board here, just to kind of get your brain so you know how to do this. So 29 is 24 over 96, and I want to set this equal to 5 over x. Clearly can't get from 24 to 5, so I'm going to reduce this by 6, and I get 4. 6 goes into 96, 16 times, and I can even go lower, okay, because there's a number that can go into both 4 and 16. So I'm going to divide this by 4, divide this by 4. My lowest terms is 1 over 4. So to get from 1 to 5, multiply by 5. To get from 4 to x, multiply by 5. X is going to be worth 20. 72 over 24 to 15 over x. So I'm going to reduce this down. 24 times 3 is going to be 72. I'm going to divide this by 3. This is going to be 24, and this is going to be 8. And then I realize I can do it again. So 8 can go into both 24 and 8. So this is going to be 3 over 1. So to get from 3 to 15, I multiply by 5. I'm going to multiply this by 5, and x is going to be worth 5. Let's go over number 31. 60 over 144. Actually, let me put that more in the middle of the board. You want to set this equal to x over 60. So I say, what can I reduce 60 and 144 by? I know I can reduce them by 12. So I know this equals to 5 over 12. To get from 12 to 60, I multiply by 5. Therefore, I have to multiply this by 5, and that's going to be 25. So I have 125 over 80. I want to set this equal to something over 48. I want to reduce this. I know I can reduce it by 5. 5 goes into this 25. 5 goes into 80, 16. Okay, to get from 16 to 48, I multiply it by 3. So I multiply this by 3, and then I get 75 over 48. So I hope, I kind of went through those last ones kind of quickly, but I hope this kind of helps you understand how I'm doing these problems. I explained the beginning ones, but I'm just showing you the math of the last couple. And I'll finish out and do the last couple. So this is going to be reduced by 15. It's going to be 1, 6 times 7 times 7. This is going to be 42 over 7. And the last one, 98 over 112 equals 63. I just don't want to confuse you with the numbers. So now I'm trying to think of a number that can go into 98 and 112. I'm thinking 7. 7 goes into 9 one time, left over 28, 14. 7 goes into this once with 62. Sorry, with 42 left over, which goes into 6. And I still can't think of how do I get from 14 to 63, so I'm going to divide again by 2. And this is going to be 7 over 8. And I know I can get from 7 to 63. I'm multiplying by 9. I'm going to multiply this by 9 and get 72. So I hope that helps you understand the second section on equivalent ratios, how we have to take a ratio and reduce it to its simplest form, and that allows me to go to any other equivalent ratio. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in class. Other than that, have a great night.